Don't look now. It is the middle of May. Wednesday, May the 15th. So glad you're here. Here's what we're working on this morning. Wildfires are already prompting evacuations across Canada.
Hamilton police looking for a person of interest after a watered-down home explosion and fire.
And a Canadian author who mastered the short story has died. Get on in here for some fun on this Wednesday.
Middle of May, you were saying? So I did a little tour around the garden yesterday, and things are popping.
Okay.
Peonies very close.
Are they coming?
Peonies are very close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look forward to maybe a couple coming my way.
Yeah, yep.
You're very generous with your peonies each and every year.
Well, I like to cut them because I don't like them to kind of like linger on the on the bushes or on the trees, because then they just die.
And you have tons of different colors too, don't you?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Good.
Look forward to that. Yeah, things are really popping. Lilacs.
I was bringing some in yesterday, just to, put them in different rooms, and was like, that's just such a wonder. You get that once a year in the spring,
smell
and it's
is
like
so
you just
beautiful.
enjoy it. It's so good. And we did even get some sunshine to help with that yesterday.
It was nice.
Yeah, after a thunderstorm went through, and you could feel the wind change after that thunderstorm went through. It got a little bit cooler, and that's what we're going to get today. We're going to get some cooler temperatures today. Yesterday we got to 23, humidex at 27. Today we're going to climb to 18 degrees. Now, I know it's cloudy right now, but we will see some clearing as the day goes on, so the day will get better. And we'll see that sunshine. We'll talk about it coming up. Quick check on traffic, because this time of the morning, nothing is going on. The sun is already up, comes up at 5:55 now, so it beat us to the air here. So we're looking at no problems, 403 Waterdown Road. That looks good. To just some MTO traffic cameras, Centennial Parkway. On this camera, Toronto bound coming towards us, top of the Skyway. Same thing, Toronto bound towards us. And here at Appleby Line, well, east of Appleby as well. No problems on the roads right now. So weather and traffic coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Yeah, let's get to this story in Western Canada, because the early start to the wildfire season has prompted a number of new evacuation orders in both British Columbia and Alberta. Simone Gavros joins us live with more on the latest situation. You were on this story on Monday. Back on it today because they continue to burn. Simone.
Yes, Tim, that's right. We are seeing a number of fires that continue to burn in Western Canada. We're also seeing these in BC, Alberta, and Manitoba. But we do know that hundreds of residents out in Fort McMurray were evacuated starting yesterday, as the fires in that area are threatening a number of communities that are there. At least 4 communities have been evacuated as of right now. Now, this was posted yesterday on social media by Alberta Wildfire. For more on just a look at what's being seen out there, they're saying that the fire has grown to about 209 square kilometers, and crews were dropping water on active fires and continue to work through the night. Now, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says people displaced by the wildfire evacuations will be eligible for just over $1,200 per adult and $600 per child after a week. Meantime, 2 significant fires are burning in British Columbia. This is a look at photos from the Canadian Space Agency showing the devastation from the fires in Fort Nelson. Evacuation orders remain in effect in a number of communities there as well. Now, this morning, we're waiting on an interview from Environment Canada to get more details on how this is going to affect the weather conditions here. But I did speak to a senior meteorologist this morning, and I'm told that the air quality conditions are not expected to be affected in the GTHA from those fires. But for now, I'll send things back over to you, Annette.
Okay, thanks very much, Simone. Well, the Ontario government is bringing in new, stricter penalties for those convicted of auto theft. If passed, vehicle thieves would lose their driver's license for 10 years on a first conviction, 15 years on a second, and they would permanently lose their right to drive after a third conviction. Auto thefts are a growing problem, with the Ontario government saying one is stolen in the province every 14 minutes. Now, Hamilton police say 600 vehicles have been reported stolen in the city so far this year. Halton police reported a 30% jump in reports from 2022 to 2023, but some aren't sure this new legislation is going to make an impact.
Are they stand-up citizens that really care whether they have their license or not? After the second time they get caught again, you can't take away what they don't have, and they don't really care. It's not like they need their license to go to work. They need their license to go steal your car.
Now, Ontario's transportation minister says this isn't a silver bullet, and they'll continue to work with all levels of government to reduce auto thefts. Currently, the mandatory minimum sentence for a third conviction is just 6 months in jail.
Hamilton's Lincoln Alexander Parkway fully reopened this morning after a crash yesterday afternoon. So Hamilton police say it was caused by a medical event. They say the 66-year-old Hamilton man driving a transport truck eastbound on the link near Garth crossed the center median, hitting an SUV going westbound. Now, the truck's driver was taken to hospital in serious condition. Hamilton police asking anyone, if you're on the link around 4:30 yesterday, to contact them if you do have dash cam video. Now, the link didn't fully reopen until 10:30 last night.
Hamilton police say a 47-year-old woman is recovering after she was hit by a vehicle last night. Police say she'd been crossing the street near Hunter and John when she was hit by an SUV just before 7:30. Police held the scene until 9 o'clock when they found out that the woman's injuries were non-life-threatening. A 70-year-old driver of the vehicle is now facing a charge of careless driving.
Hamilton police are looking to identify a suspect wanted in connection with a house fire that caused nearly $1 million in damage last month. Back on April 19th, first responders were called out to a fire at a home on Highway 6 between Concession 4 and 5 West. Now, police say there was an explosion and the Ontario Fire Marshal was called in to investigate. Detectives have now released an image of a suspect who was seen walking southbound along Highway 6 after that fire had broken out. Now, the person is described as having a medium build, wearing all dark clothing and carrying a white bag. If you plan to visit Lovell Park in North Burlington this weekend, you're going to need a reservation. The City of Burlington says from May 18th until October 7th, anyone who wants to check out the scenery between 8 in the morning and 8 at night on weekends and holidays will have to book a parking spot on Burlington's Park Pass website. Reservations will be held for 3 hours, and you can only book one spot a day. The city says this will give it will give you an access code that lets you get in and out of the park's automated gate. Reservations are free, but if you aren't parked in the right spot or you don't have a reservation, your vehicle could be towed. Well, don't be alarmed if you hear the Alert Ready system today. It's going to go off just before 1 o'clock this afternoon. The federal government is going to be testing the nation's capacity to issue emergency alerts around Ontario. Most provinces and territories received a test alert on their phones last week, as well as through TV and radio broadcasts. This is the first time the federal government is going to test the capacity to issue alert messages compared to provincial or territorially issued alerts. The government says it recently signed an agreement to issue alerts on information of national interest that falls within federal jurisdictions.
Check your phone's compatibility.
Well, Canada's busiest arena getting a new look. With that ceremonial groundbreaking, or wall-breaking, work is now officially underway on upgrading the Scotiabank Arena in downtown Toronto. It's the second of 4 phases of renos designed to make the fan experience for Leafs and Raptors games better, and also at concerts. The arena is 25 years old, and this phase, expected to be finished in the fall, is focused on the 100 level. When it's finished, the most obvious change to fans coming in will be signage all over the main concourse that will be changed based on the game or concert that they're going to.
Going to be some big renos happening in this town too when it comes to First Ontario Centre. We'll get to that more of that tomorrow because they're doing the groundbreaking for that. But it also follows the upgrades to the Rogers Centre and the Blue Jays, and they could have used the Dome yesterday as their game in Baltimore. It was rained out. Going to be made up in July. They're going to wrap up their series this afternoon. So let's shift our focus to the 2 Canadian teams left in the NHL playoffs that are putting on a show, and they did it last night in Game 4 in Edmonton with the game tied at 2 in the final minute.
Dean colliding with Verona, getting it to Draisaitl, back to Bouchard.
Yeah, the Oilers' Evan Bouchard scored the winning goal with 38 seconds left to lift Edmonton to a 3-2 win over the Canucks, and we got ourselves a series locked at 2 games apiece. Calvin Pickard got the win in his first ever NHL start, making 19 saves after replacing Stuart Skinner, who's had a tough series. These two are now off to Van City for that crucial Game 5 tomorrow night.
Frederick to Coyle. A one-touch further, right down Broadway. Score! McAvoy!
Early game also was pretty exciting between the Bruins and Panthers in Florida, where Boston was able to avoid getting ousted from the playoffs thanks to that goal by Bruins D-man Charlie McAvoy, which turned out to be the game winner. They would review for goaltender interference, but the goal would stand. Jeremy Swayman, as we know, he's pretty good in that. He stood tall, making 28 saves in the 2-1 win. Off to Boston for Game 6 Friday.
Here comes Alina Mueller on the outside for Boston. Mueller cuts to center. Patsy rebound. She scores!
Speaking of Boston, last night a thrilling OT win for PWHL Boston over Montreal. They have booked a ticket into the first ever P-Dub final. Heartbreak, though, for Montreal, who got swept in the semifinals with all 3 games going to overtime. Now Boston waits for the winner. The Toronto-Minnesota series with Game 4 tonight. Toronto just needs a win, and they're into the finals too.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from 3, will dip inside and lay it in. There are the first points in the WNBA career of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, historic night in the WNBA as they kicked off a new season with phenom Caitlin Clark making her debut with the Indiana Fever in Connecticut. Up and down debut for Clark, the first overall pick, who was making one of the most hyped debuts in league history. She would score 20 points, including 4 threes, but she did have 10 turnovers, the most ever in a WNBA debut. Her team would lose 92-71, but plenty of exciting days to come. Now in the NBA, Nikola Jokic was awarded with his 3rd league MVP in front of his home crowd before Game 5 of their series with Minnesota. I might be a little bit biased, but I think SGA should be lifting that hardware. You know what I'm saying? Jokic, though, showed why many voted for him. He was unstoppable for his Nuggets. He would drop 40 points to lead the defending champs to a 112-97 win. Now they take a 3-2 lead over the Timberwolves after they dropped the first 2 games elsewhere. The next, Jalen Brunson, also a huge game for him. He dropped 44 to lead New York to a Game 5 win over Pascal Siakam and the Pacers.
6:12 on the button. There we go. All right, we're into this Wednesday morning. Is it halfway through May already? It is. You know, it's the 15th of May. All right, we don't have a lot of sunshine yet, but it's coming. We're starting to see a little bit of clearing. No problems here. 403 and Waterdown Road, still doing fine. Toronto bound towards us. MTO traffic cameras, St. Catharines first of all, then we'll come around the Horseshoe. It's very light volume at the 406 in St. Catharines. Centennial Parkway still doing fine. Fairview looks good. Same with east of Royal Windsor through Oakville, Mississauga, around the Gardner. This is the 427 Gardner QEW combination. Nothing there. Okay, we were 12 degrees last hour. Temperature has just fallen a degree to 11. A bit of a northeasterly breeze at 26 kilometers an hour. That's going to keep our temperature subdued today. But at least we're seeing a little bit, excuse me, a little glimmer of some sunshine here this morning. It was cloudy overnight, but now we're seeing mainly cloudy skies. So a high today of 18 degrees, less than yesterday. We'll have fairly light winds, but the skies will clear as the day goes on. As I said, a fair bit of cloud cover this morning. Frontal boundary pushing itself away from us very slowly, and we're going to see a clearing trend. So that'll happen this afternoon into the overnight and for the day tomorrow. And then it looks like Friday we get some more showers pushing in time for the long weekend. So today, 18 and 20 degrees Niagara, 23 Cayuga, Simcoe, and Brantford, but 18 to 22 to 23 around the Horseshoe. Mississauga into Toronto, Guelph, and Kitchener could get a shower later today. Tonight, temperatures 11, 12, 13 degrees, but fog will develop overnight as the humidity stays up there. And then tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds. So a pretty nice day tomorrow. Temperatures above seasonal, 20, 21 to 23 degrees, depending on where you are. And again, slim chance of a shower for Peel into Toronto, and that'll be later in the day. So out the door, 15th of May already. It is becoming mostly cloudy now, and the temperature is above seasonal. So we'll call that mild at 11. Long range coming up and at 10.
Thanks, Brian. Oh, there's our other friend, Emily. Good morning.
Hello. Hi, good morning. We're starting off Chit Chat with some sad news. Alice Munro has passed away, a literary great in Canada. Very, very sad. We're talking about Best in Show, Westminster. You're going to see some cute puppers. And Nicolas Cage is playing a very dark Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah, he's an interesting fellow. That Nicolas Cage.
He is.
You've followed his career. Okay.
We're going to deep dive and unpack that.
We're going to deep dive Nicolas Cage in Chit Chat.
Hey,
we'll see you at the couch in a little bit then.
I'll be there.
All right, coming up after the break. It's official. Port Colborne is getting a shiny new battery plant. Well, over in Milton, CN Rail gets to keep moving ahead of the project. We'll see you in 2. Wait for it, wait for it. 6.17 on the button. I owe Brian money now. Canadian dollar is up 11 basis points this morning. It's 73.36 cents US. Gold gains almost 16 bucks, 23.75, 70 an ounce. Crude oil up 29 cents, 78.31 a barrel. Off to Europe we go. Hey, Europe markets are up in London and Frankfurt, down slightly in Paris.
In Asia, the markets were up in Tokyo today, but closed in Hong Kong, down in Shanghai. And on North American markets, the TSX lost 16 points, the Dow gained 126, and the NASDAQ added another 123.
I'm glad you're with us on this Wednesday morning. Big announcement yesterday. We were teeing this announcement up yesterday, or Simone was on the show, but it came from the federal and provincial governments with an impact right here in our region. Port Colborne has been chosen as the new location for the brand new $1.6 billion electric vehicle battery component plant.
This plant will be the first large-scale separator plant in the country, making our EV supply chain even stronger here in Canada.
Yeah, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Premier Doug Ford, Niagara Regional Chair Jim Bradley, and many other officials gathered in Port Colborne for the announcement yesterday. So Japan's Asahi Kasei Corporation, they're going to build the facility, which will be part of Honda's EV supply chain. Now, the plant will build lithium-ion battery separators and is expected to be up and running by 2027. Not clear how many jobs the facility will bring, but the city's mayor, Bill Steele, and regional officials are very excited about the expected economic boost from the facility.
The Federal Court of Appeal has ruled that CN Rail can keep building the Milton Logistics Hub, but the future of that facility still in limbo. So a lower court had halted construction, but the federal court says it can continue as CN appeals the lower court ruling. The judge said any delay in construction would be, quote, detrimental to the public interest. This $250 million project includes a hub for containers to be transferred between trucks and rail cars and would double CN's existing line of tracks in the area. It was approved by the federal government 3 years ago, but health and air quality concerns led to that lower court halt of construction.
Well, major Montreal-based dairy processor Saputo getting a new CEO this summer. So the company says its current president and CEO, Lino Saputo, plans to transition to the role of executive chair of the board. Saputo says Carl Kaliza, the company's current president and CEO for North America, will take the top job in August. For the time being, Kaliza will continue the functions of his current role after the transition. So Canadians who joined a class action lawsuit against Life Labs are now receiving checks and e-transfers. The class action was launched after a data breach in 2019 allowed hackers to access the personal information of up to 15 million Life Lab customers. So an Ontario court approved a Canada-wide settlement of up to $9.8 million. So because so many people joined the class action, the administrator, KPMG, says claimants will either receive an e-transfer of $7.86 or 2 checks for $2 less to cover the processing fee.
I'm still looking in my bank account.
Yeah, where do you spend all that money?
Where do you do it?
Can you get a sandwich like that? Slice of pizza. Okay, taking a break. Coming up after, though.
Brian's going to be back with your traffic and 7-day forecast.
Good morning, 23 minutes after 6 o'clock on this 15th of May. Still looking at this construction. Left lane is blocked as you try to get from the QEW heading to Fort Erie onto the 405. So you can see all the pylons on the lane there. No problems there. Volume's getting busier. Top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge, Toronto bound obviously towards us. Same here at Appleby Line, not a lot. We had a disabled vehicle off to the side. Tow truck came heading away from us. Tow truck came, got rid of it. So that's clear sailing right now, and no problems at the 403 at Dundas Street. Looks good there. Temperature right now sitting at 11 degrees in Hamilton. Skies are trying to clear a little bit, and they will clear as the day goes on. 10 for Grimsby, 12 Mississauga, 13 into Toronto. When I say mild for this morning, that's relative to seasonal. 7 degrees is seasonal for an overnight low, so we're above that. 19 for the daytime high. We beat that yesterday. Those are our sun times and records for today. Now we are going to start with cloud cover this morning. We'll start to see a bit more sunshine as the day goes on. So 15 degrees for the first bell. We're looking at 18 for after school. And as I said, that sky is going to clear later today. So that's how we look today. 18 clearing and the sunshine coming out later. Tonight, 12 degrees. Fog will develop. Tomorrow, pretty nice day. Sun cloud mix and a temperature of 20 degrees. Then we get back into instability again. Friday, chance of showers in 18. Chance of showers again on Saturday, 21. Pretty nice day for Sunday. And again, slim chance, but it's there. Slim chance of a shower for holiday Monday. That's your forecast. Annette, Tim.
Well, a new tourist attraction that's set up in New York City and in Dublin, Ireland, it's been temporarily shut down.
So they're called portals, and they feature a 24-hour live stream between the two cities. Meaning if you go and stand in front of the one in New York, you're looking into Ireland, and then vice versa. Well, yesterday the portals had to be closed down due to some inappropriate behavior. Apparently, social media videos, you won't see it here, but they've surfaced that show people participating in some R-rated behaviors in front of these portals. According to the Dublin City Council, investigation is underway to find the solutions to the inappropriate behavior committed by a small number of visitors. This is from our writer Johnny saying, part of the problem is probably the time difference. So if you're coming out of a bar at 3 a.m. in New York, that's like 8 in the morning in Dublin. Mm-hmm. So the work crowd, you're walking to work and you're seeing what they're doing in New York at 3 a.m. Got to play to the crowd, you know? But this, when I was reading this reminds me of Speaker's Corner in Toronto. And just like...
Wonder what stuff didn't make it onto the show.
Totally. Or like when they went in on like a Sunday morning after a Saturday night, some of the videos that they see on
Clean it out.
Speaker's Corner. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's what we got.
All right, we got lots more to come right after the break.
Your mind...